So this brings me back to your state. What about California? I mean, we know that the law passed. We know that the law passed that children have to be vaccinated. So what is their next step? They can't be finished yet because it's almost like California is the test state before we decide to move further, right? So
right. Well, and so to answer that, they can't be finished yet. That's exactly the question. What is it they're trying to finish? And so I think there's several ways to look at that. Number one, I have two kids. I have a 4-year-old little girl and a now 9-year-old son. He just turned 9 this weekend. I pulled my kids out of school so that I don't have to force vaccinate them. But they are trying to pass laws that now go after homeschoolers. They are not going to stop there. But here's the point. Do you really think this is all about children? This is what they want people to think. They want people to think, oh, well, I got my vaccinations as a kid. This is just part of what you do. First of all, totally different set of vaccinations. You get 5 or 10. Your kids now get 72 or your grandkids. But this isn't about the kids. And here's the point I want to make, Darrell. When I stand in front of large audiences a lot of times, herd immunity. This is what this whole thing is sold on. That the only way to achieve herd immunity is to force vaccinate everybody. That you have to have at least 95% of a society vaccinated in order to, what they say, cocoon those that can't be vaccinated. They use this mythological immunosuppressed cancer patient child as the reason we pass these laws to take your rights away. Even though there's not a single documented case of an immunosuppressed child that's not been vaccinated getting a deadly disease from an unvaccinated child. Hasn't happened, has never ended up in a court anywhere in this country, but we pass laws to take your rights away for this herd immunity idea. I'm going to blow it up right here, Darrell, and I do it in front of audiences all the time. Here's the deal. When we think about 95% vaccine uptake as the way that you achieve herd immunity, I say to an audience, will you please raise your hand if you haven't had your booster shots in the last 10 years? You know how many people raise their hands that are adults, Darrell? Everybody. Everybody in the room. I'm talking 70, 80, 90% of the room, depending on where you're at, their hands go up. I've done this with politicians, with senators that question me. And I say, you do realize we have booster shots every 10 years because vaccines wear off. That means the entire adult population of the United States of America is currently unvaccinated. So you tell me how forcing vaccines under the 2 or 3% of children that are currently unvaccinated gets you to that magic 95% number when 40 to 60% of the nation's population of adults is currently not vaccinated. We are nowhere near this herd immunity idea, okay? And I'm not saying that you need to go and vaccinate the adults, but that's what they're going to tell you. My point is, with half of the nation currently not vaccinated for measles or mumps or rubella or whooping cough or any of this stuff, why aren't we seeing outbreaks in the tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands if these things are contagious the way they say they are? This whole thing is a fraud, Darrell. It's a total and complete hoax. It's a marketing scam put out by this industry that's going to try and get you to have a product that the government forces down your throat. And every new vaccine they create, the government's going to make you take it. There are 270 vaccines in the pipeline. There are thousands of vaccine trials taking place as we speak. I believe that you're going to start seeing biological elements added to what would have been a drug simply to be able to call it a biological or a vaccine. That way you take it out of having to go through the double-blind studies like we said. It no longer needs safety studies. It'll be protected from liability. It'll be forced upon you by the government of the United States. And where do they make the money? Do you think the money for pharma, and this is my point, do you think that they're the number one lobby in Washington so that they can get that last 2% of children? What is that? Maybe 1 million kids? That's where their money's going to be made? That's the future of their industry? No way. They want 320 million American forced customers.